You know what? I am confused because they just announced a Tomb Raider Cookbook and Black Panther for the Avengers Game. This entire presentation was a very confusing mess, and I happen to have a Black Panther apron, so let's hit the kitchen and roast this. What's up, gamers? Dreamcastguy here, and I just finished watching the 40-minute long presentation put on by Square Enix. Now, let me just be clear, my disappointment is not from overhype, it's not expectations. The big thing here is that they said which projects were going to be there. They said this was about Life is Strange, Balan Wonderworld, and stuff like Outriders. I'm not sad that they didn't show Final Fantasy 16. You know what? I knew that wasn't going to show up. I am sad about the games that they promised would be there. They actually showed up, and they were actually a letdown. Now, let's start things off by talking about the Tomb Raider 25th anniversary. I am an old school fan of Tomb Raider. I grew up with it, like the rest of us did. I kind of expected to see some sort of re-release of the Tomb Raider remake we already had. You may not know this, but yes, there's been recently the Tomb Raider reboot. A lot of us know about that, but they actually did a full-blown Tomb Raider remake on the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. It is fantastic. It was called Tomb Raider Anniversary. I fully expected that they would bring that back or do something to try and celebrate Lara Croft. They did. They actually decided to celebrate Tomb Raider by making a Tomb Raider cookbook. Look, when I'm playing Tomb Raider, I'm definitely not thinking, oh, I bet she makes the most delicious chicken breasts. Oh man, I hope I can eat that cave moss. Like, why are you making a cookbook? Anything else would have made more sense. New DLC, a new game, some sort of tease of future projects. A cookbook, of all things. But let's stick to the video games. Before they showed that probably delicious reveal, they showed off a bunch of new stuff about Outriders. Now, I'm not exactly excited for Outriders, but my biggest criticism thus far is the fact that I want to fight big monsters. This game, since we have superpowers, we can shoot electricity and fire and rock and stuff, my biggest concern was that if all we're doing is shooting other humans, that's kind of a boring concept. I wanted to see the big, flashy monsters. And this new trailer actually showed that. It showed some big old beasties, big old quadrupeds, huge flying birds and stuff. It looked like a game that actually was going to be challenging. I'm more interested now in the idea of Outriders. I still can't say that I'm full-blown hyped. I still think the game itself, I have too many concerns to be fully taken away by the stream of what this game might be, but I'm definitely more interested. This trailer itself was mostly just pre-rendered CG, so it's hard to be completely just blown away, but I'm more convinced about the idea of this game as a concept. I hope that it's actually fun to play because it seems like the world, the art, the graphics, I think that those aspects are cool. Hopefully they managed to make it fun. The weirdest part of this presentation, which still, once again, this was 40 minutes long, the weirdest part was definitely the Avengers. At this point, the Avengers game is practically dead. The average player concurrent is so freaking low. Nobody is logging in. Nobody's doing the daily quests or the missions and stuff. Well, it feels like they legally have to talk about this game every once in a while because they came out today and announced that if you own it on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, it is now coming for free to Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. Now, the next-gen upgrade, we've known about this for months. I'm actually recording this bit after the initial video because guess what? They've actually released the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X version, and it's breaking save files. Yes, I'm being completely serious. If you're trying to actually play this broken-ass game, well, I got some great news. Don't. Or at least read a how-to guide because apparently nothing about this can work. I mean, seriously, like this video just because, oh my god, how can there be such a meme experience made by a company as rich and powerful as Square Enix? Okay, back to the original video. They also revealed today a bunch more stuff about Hawkeye, who I believe is out now or coming soon or something, and he's a bow guy. He's able to shoot stuff, and it's a guy wearing blue jeans. His animations are awful. Like, the weirdest part about Play Avengers is the fact that the Avengers game is just so lackluster and seemingly low budget. Like, the fact that this is based on one of the highest profiting franchises of all time, freaking Marvel Comics, put onto the big screen here in an action video game, the fact that it looks so low budget, the animations are janky, the voice actors sound incredibly bored. Like, I am genuinely just shocked about the fact that the Avengers game game still just seems like such a wet fart. They did decide to end this, though, with a tease about the future, which is going to be Black Panther. Now, I am wearing my Black Panther apron here. That's an interesting development. I like the Black Panther movie. I like Black Panther in the comics. I'm curious how he's going to fit into this game. At this point, the main reason I even care about the Avengers at all is because I'm waiting for Spider-Man. I'm just a Spider-Man addict. That's all I care about. Once we get Spider-Man, I'm going to level him up, get his gear, do his side quests, enjoy that aspect of the game, and then I'm going to delete it forever. So as nice as freaking this looks, as cool as it is that they're finally putting Black Panther in there, I don't think he's even going to show up for another 5 or 6 months. If you're an actual hardcore Avengers fan, this is a very freaking huge draught of content. I cannot imagine actually being a person who's trying to be active in that community with so little actual physical content. Now let's talk about the weird part of this presentation, which was the mobile games. They showed a couple of them. There's 2 specifically I want to highlight, which was a new freaking game that looks like an online multiplayer version of Just Cause, called Just Cause Mobile. Now we've known about this. They showed it off. It looks, like a standard cell phone game. Lots of action and flying around and stuff. This looks like Square Enix is clearly making a huge chunk on their mobile development. They've been talking more and more about Final Fantasy Brave Exodus. A lot of their freaking spin-offs that they've been putting onto cell phones are clearly probably just as lucrative financially as the mainline stuff, which is confusing and baffling, but hey, what are you going to do? The other mobile game announcement, though, that they were just kind of hyping up is the one by Square Enix Montreal. They're the people that make stuff like Hitman Go, Tomb Raider Go. They made those. Well, they're making another Hitman game, but this one is called Hitman Sniper Assassins. Now, okay, so I think the concept of this game is going to be just way too basic. A cell phone game where I'm just scrolling around and tapping targets. I'm a big fan of stuff like Silent Scope. I played a bunch of Silent Scope back in the day. I think it's totally possible to have a fun sniper game, but in my opinion, the reason I've always played the Hitman games is the silly kills by Agent 47 himself, stabbing somebody with a banana, stealing people's costumes, trying to slip into areas and not be detected. Just making only the kills into an entire video game seems like a gigantic mistake. It's just one of those things that makes me think, what the hell was the plan here? But let's talk about one that was definitely the last of the bad games before I want to get into the 2 games that did kind of blow my mind in a positive aspect. But let's talk real quick about Balan Wonderworld. Okay, so at this point, everybody has been properly warned. If you've played the Balan Wonderworld demo, the game is incredibly rough. It's basic, it's weird, it seems like it's directed towards children under the age of 5. It is a very, very strange game. And in fact, actually, this is a fun fact. Recently, the developers have actually been doing some damage control, doing interviews and stuff and saying, we hear your feedback on the demo, but unfortunately, we're not able to correct the game yet. This is probably going to end up being one of the worst games of the entire year. Balan is that bad. Well, we got a new CG trailer for it, and it still looks incredibly confusing. It looks like a freaking dark, cryptic children's thing you'd find on the bad part of YouTube or something that's made by weirdo space algorithms in China or something. I just cannot be excited for Balan, but additionally, this seems like a game that just has absolutely zero polish. It's got janky controls, janky freaking animations. Every part of this world seems like something I do not want to participate in. But yes, I am going to be reviewing it because I am psychopathic. But now let's talk about the 2 games that I am the most curious about, and by far, which is Life is Strange 3, and additionally, Project Athia now has an actual name. This is no longer this mysterious project. This was revealed a while ago during the PlayStation 5 event, and at the time, we just saw somebody wearing cool tennis shoes, dancing around to music, pulling tree roots out of the ground and stuff. Well, it turns out that it's going to be possibly still a PlayStation 5 exclusive, but it's definitely a very next-gen game, or it's just very, very beautiful. It is a CG trailer. It's definitely not live gameplay or anything like that, but we now know that when this game is done, the release title is going to be Forspoken. It seems like it's like this lady who's stuck in some sort of she has all this power and magic and stuff, but she's been transported to a land of fantasy because she speaks the way that we do, and she has magical abilities. She's able to throw fire and ice and stuff like that, and she's trying to battle dragons and fight off monsters. it seems like it's definitely caught my attention. I'm certainly intrigued just to try and figure out what the heck this game is going to be like. Now, when they initially showed it, the fact that she can teleport around, they did show some live clips of some gameplay that showed her like exploring and traveling. This game seems like it is going to be open world, at least to some aspect, and it reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy 15 in that era of like being able to go around to pick your quests, travel about whichever direction you want. It seems like it's going to have that freedom to it, but this is, of course, an early trailer for a game that's not coming out for a while. They did say a 2022 release date, so that means that maybe it's coming out in the next 16 months, which is certainly freaking exciting. Now, the last game they showed is one that I didn't expect to be impressed by. I have played all the Life is Strange games, and at times I kind of love them, at times I've kind of hated them, because they are definitely just interactive movies. I'm a huge fan of games with lots of gameplay. I want to be able to have options and controls and magic abilities and talent trees. I like the ability of my skill being able to fill in for parts of the game. The better I am, the better I get out of the game itself. Life is Strange, they're practically just plot lines. They're like comic books that you click the next page. But this story, I don't know, it's really managed to grab my attention. So Life is Strange 3, we're playing as this girl who is named Alex, and she has the ability of empathy. She's able to actually absorb other people's feelings. She can see it as like this aura of light. So if somebody's having a bad day, it may be red, or if they're having a good day, it may be green, or if they're just apprehensive or scared, it may be like a yellowish hue. And by touching them, she absorbs a part of it. And it seems like it actually affects her mind state. It does more than just affect her moods and stuff, but it seems to maybe alter her perceptions of reality, making it so she can see stuff that normally she couldn't see. And the whole crux of this, the reason I'm actually intrigued, is because it seems to be a murder mystery. It seems like her brother has mysteriously died, and now the whole point of the game is that we're in this tiny town where we don't know anybody because our brother's dead, and now we have to try and clack the clues. We have to crack some clues, not clacky clues. We have to try and figure out who possibly did murder her brother by using these powers. I appreciate the fact that this is kind of a basic concept with a little twist on it. It's got that little bit of spice to make the taco extra interesting. It's not for everybody. I do have a feeling that most people are just going to watch this game on YouTube. They're not actually going to play it themselves, or they'll watch their favorite streamer play through it, but I am definitely going to play Life is Strange 3. And additionally, I'm actually very happy to say that previous Life is Strange games, my biggest criticism is how they would make a good story, but then they would just drop these episodes. Each chunk of the game would usually be separated by months. You'd have this one little cool piece of story, and then nothing for freaking months, if not years, and then you got the next little slice of the story itself. They have said that this will not be an episodic release. This is going to be one big chunk of a game released all at once in September, or maybe it was August. But you know what? I'm excited for that. Give us less episodic games, more complete experiences, because I'm definitely down for it. I mean, that's my thoughts so far. I just wanted to kind of vent because this is an event that was mostly not super amazing, not definitely impressive. Of course, there wasn't any Final Fantasy, but they said there wasn't going to be any Final Fantasy. But the fact that they managed to still wow us at the end with that Life is Strange reveal and with this interesting look at Forspoken, I'm definitely down for that. I still wish they hadn't shown that cookbook though, because man, what a delicious disrespect to the Tomb Raider herself. What do you guys think about it though? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Alright, time to take my apron off and edit this video. Yep, I don't even... Look at that. Alright, let's go. It's video game time. Somebody actually replied to me on Twitter and said, how can you be disappointed about an event that wasn't hyped up? I think you're allowed to be disappointed by bad games. I think objectively we can say that this was not a great showcase of these games. You know what? It's okay to be disappointed even if you love video games, okay? You're allowed to have opinions. Free the internet. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.